Welcome back from the ad break. You are still watching Prime Life. Now, this evening, we welcome Thuli, Mandita, and Coach Ayanda Vilakazi from the Alexandra Basketball Club. Now, through this community-focused and non-profit program, disadvantaged children are given an opportunity to shine and off the court, in and off the court, learning life skills, developing discipline, and unlocking educational and career opportunities. Thank you so much for joining us on Prime Life, and welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Now, I'm going to start with Thuli, right?
Okay.
Can you tell us what inspired you to establish the Alexandra Basketball Club?
I joined them already established. It was already established when I joined them. But my inspiration for staying with them is that I could see. I grew up in Alex. We also had opportunities for different kinds of sports. And most of the people I know went national, played nationally. They even went overseas. And that over the years, that's kind of gone down. And I saw that there's a lot of resources that they require that are lacking. So when I joined them, my reason for joining them is to try and get them as much sponsorship as I can and to assist as much as I can to keep these children continuing with the sports and enjoying sports and being at sports versus all the other things they could be doing, drinking, getting into drugs, falling pregnant. That's my inspiration for joining them, is that I want to keep the kids in the sports and make sure they can get out of the poverty. Because also there's that aspect about Alex, that poverty is very, very, very rife in Alex. It's a big deal. So yes, that's my inspiration.
And before I get into other things, were you someone that was always interested in basketball, or your role is just mainly focusing on bringing sponsorships and making sure that the organization grows?
My role is literally sponsorship and making sure the organization grows. I've never been sporty because I've always had a weak heart. I've broken bones a couple of times. So I honestly cannot play sports even if I wanted to.
Yes.
So it's mainly making sure that I get them the resources that they require.
I mean, that's beautiful. Now, I'm going to come to you, Coach Vilakazi. What is your coaching philosophy when it comes to working with the young players?
My coaching philosophy is development. Develop them as young, and then they grow with the sport. That is, our focus is development, giving the kids the right tools so that they can face the world out there.
And how old are these kids that you work with?
Okay, we have 4 divisions. We have under 13s, and then we have under 16s, under 18s, and under 20s. But the under 13s, they coming in, like most of them, the bulk of them, they are like 9 years, 10 years. So we start them as young as possible.
That is a beautiful thing. And please tell us, Thuli, that, I mean, since the club inception, how much has it grown? I know you found it already running, but obviously you've been with them for a while now, so you've seen growth. And tell us about the impact that it's actually having in the community.
The impact that it's having in the community, we actually have recent exciting news. I'm going to let Ayanda tell us about this one. One of the boys managed to get a scholarship to go overseas.
Nice.
He's in matric, so if he passes, he actually gets to go play overseas. And that's the kind of thing we're trying to do. The league that they play in is a private school league with like the St. John's and schools like that. And the reason we insist on getting them into that league is to give them as much exposure as possible, because that's where the scouts go. They don't come to Alex, you know, they go to the private schools to look for talent and stuff like that. So we ensure that we enter them into those kinds of leagues so that they can get exposure. And believe me, they do very, very, very well. They always win.
That is amazing. And just coming back to you, Coach Vilakazi, you mentioned that you like to start them young and train them while they're young. But I do know that you guys also focus not just only on the basketball coaching and training, but you also make sure that there's skills development programs that are happening so that they are better individuals. How do you balance the two without, you know, the other outweighing the other?
Okay, number one, we always tell them education is first. Education comes first, and you need to finish school. And we, even when it comes to practice, I would ask them, how's school? How are you doing at school? Can you see your report card? Because if he's failing at school, then he gets to sit on a bench, and then he needs to sort out school first before he comes uh, to play basketball. Because we have this one kid, his name is Tejo Manama, and he's going to Keene University in New Jersey. He's just recently got a scholarship. He was playing basketball, plus his marks, his grades are way above the limit. So I'm excited, and he's like the, what you call it, a role model
For the
yeah,
kids that
yeah,
are
for
there,
these
yes.
kids. And I mean, how old is he? 17 years. Yeah.
I mean, that's brilliant. And I just want to talk about you, Coach, for a minute. Have you always been someone that is interested in basketball? How did your journey in basketball start? I mean, in South Africa, basketball is not a thing.
Yeah.
So whenever you see someone being a basketball coach, it's like, how? You know? Tell us about that.
Okay. My uncle used to coach basketball, but I saw this man, Jonathan Kumalo. I cannot go without mentioning his name, Jonathan Kumalo and Melvin Chauke. So these guys, they are the ones that started basketball way back in 1991, and then I went in. I enjoyed the sport because I got to talk English, and then I got to wear baggy pants, and I was yeah, like,
Oh, nigga.
yeah,
Hey,
you could say that. So it was an interesting sport. Plus
Yeah.
the attire, it made you look slick.
Yes.
Yes, and I fell in love with the game. And after having played for some years, I thought, you know what? Why don't I plow back what I've learned? And I went into coaching then.
That's a very interesting story. And back to you, Thuli. I mean, you work with kids, right? And there's a lot of challenges that come with that. You did mention that there's a lot of, things like drugs, teenage pregnancies, alcohol abuse, all of those things that they're surrounded with. And some kids, unfortunately, they fall for these things, and you get to deal with them. How do you manage that? How do you overcome the challenges that come with actually running this program?
I've decided to focus on what I see on the court currently, because those are the kids that are showing up. Those are the kids that are coming daily for practices, and those are the kids that are coming to the games. Like as recent as what, on Friday, last week Friday, I dragged them along. I went to Greenstone Mall, and I went to all the shops that I knew that have sports bras, and I was approaching them for head office contacts, so I could approach them if they could sponsor sports bras for them. After I sort that out, I'm going to target sneakers. You know, the material of the courts, it wears down the actual sneakers, so they need to be changed quite frequent.
Oh.
That's the next thing I'm going to be focusing on. And my biggest thing for the year that I'd like to achieve is to actually get them transport. Because currently, we don't have transport for games. The kids make contributions, whether it's 20 bucks, 10 bucks, 50 bucks, and we plow it all together. We get a quantum off the line and negotiate with that driver to take us to the different games. And I feel like at a certain point, those kids are not going to be showing up because they don't have the 10 bucks or the 20 bucks or the 50 bucks. And we're going to lose those kids. Therefore, my biggest goal for the year is to try and get those kids a quantum where they don't have to keep bringing up with the tenors, where they can just show up to the games, enjoy the sport, play to the best of their abilities, and, grab whatever opportunities come their way as a result.
And so basically, you need, I mean, the things that you mentioned are things that you need support for in terms of like viewers that are watching right now, in how they can show support to the
Yes,
program. So
definitely.
we definitely hope that they're listening,
I
and they will
please.
show you support on that, right?
Absolutely, please.
Now back to coach. I think with being a coach, the
Yes,
kids
ma'am.
become your kids. Like
Yeah.
you guys build like a relationship, like a bond. You know, it's like a family, right?
Yeah.
What are your aspirations? What do you hope these kids can achieve in life, and also the hopes for the program itself?
Okay. Personally, be, the word coach carries a lot of weight. So with me, I treat them as my friends, my brothers, and I'm also a parent to them. And my ambition for them, my wish for them is to succeed in life, get to university. That's priority number one. Get to university after high school, university, and then they start working, and then get scholarships to various programs around the country. Yeah, we don't want them to after high school and then seeing them at home doing nothing. That's not what we're looking for.
And before I let you go, please tell me, with working obviously as a community member, serving the community, there's a lot that you learn about yourself. It's a challenging role. You being almost like a mother figure to these children, and you know they're looking up to you. What have you learned about yourself in the process of serving the community?
I'm kind-hearted to a fault.
Yes.
I'm kind-hearted to a fault. I tend to see and wanna fix.
Mm.
You know, I can never see a situation and just walk away from it. I see, I wanna fix. Like, for example, with the girls.
Mm.
And it wasn't necessarily only the basketball ones, because we share courts. We also have netball girls there.
Okay.
Seeing them struggle to play with, developing boobs, jumping up and down, you can imagine. That's why we always wear our bras. Seeing them struggle to play like that and realizing that it's not because they don't want to, it's because they can't afford a bra. It's expensive. A sports bra can cost up to $200. That's not the kind of money an average parent has in Alex. Um, so for me, I always see and I always find a solution around it. And yeah.
So you're kind-hearted and you're always showing, kindness and love, and also just getting sponsorships in general and making sure that these kids are looked after. Like you mentioned, sports bras, they sneakers, gear here and there, right? So, Coach, just to close it off with you, what have you learned about yourself in coaching these young individuals?
They teach you to be patient. You need patience. If you're not patient, you are going to collapse. Yeah, they teach you a lot, and one thing that they've taught me is patience and respect. And I'm getting it from our teams, like our Alex under 13 teams. Like we have a tradition when they walk into the court, they handshake everybody. Whoever's in the court, you walk in, you handshake. It has gone on to our under 18s also. That is a tradition for the Alexandra basketball.
I mean, that's beautiful, the great work that you're doing for Alexandra. I really, really pray that God blesses the both of you for, first of all, helping these children and, making sure that they are growing into young, responsible adults. But also, I really do hope that you get all the sponsorships that you need and these children actually grow into individuals that you aspire them to be. So thank you so much for keeping the spirit of basketball alive, especially in Alexandra.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks.
Thank you. Viewers at home, this was an amazing conversation that I had with Thuli Mandita and Coach Ayanda Vilakazi regarding the Alexandra Basketball Club. This was a very interesting conversation. And just before I close off, Thuli, please do mention to our viewers at home how they can show support in terms of donation. Maybe there are details or social media page or something that they can reach out to.
I'm still establishing the social media pages, but I will give my number and my email address. My number is 072 790 5313. I'll repeat it, 072 790 5313. My email address is numeric 2 as in the number 2, LIMANDITA @gmail.com. I mean, they can absolutely get hold of you guys because it is long.
Yes.
It's basically my name and surname at gmail.com.
Thank you so much for sharing that. And viewers at home, I hope you do actually reach out on our social media platforms. If you do not get that, you can send us a DM at INX Prime and ask for the details that that Thuli just provided in order for you to donate and show love and support to the basketball club that's in Alexandra. But without wasting any time, let's go to a quick ad break. We'll see you right after this.